Chapter 2. The night air is still and tranquil as I drive through the quiet streets of Houston. The soft hum of my car's engine provides a comforting backdrop to my thoughts. It's been about a week since I ran into Maya at our favorite coffee shop on the 5th, and finally, our busy schedules have aligned, allowing us to meet for dinner. As I drive through the pathways of the commercial district, the city lights cast a warm glow, creating a serene atmosphere. The anticipation of seeing Maya again makes my heart race, and I find myself replaying our last encounter in my mind. Her laughter echoes in my ears, and the memory of her warm smile warms my soul. It's been so long since we last saw each other, and our reunion feels like a breath of fresh air, a chance to rekindle the bond we once shared. I remember how she teased me about stalking strangers when I mentioned following her to the coffee shop. She still had quite the mouth on her. That had not changed one bit, and I'm glad. The car glides smoothly through the streets, the city lights casting dancing shadows across my path. Thoughts of Maya fill my mind, and I can't help but wonder how much she has changed during the time we spent apart. Our conflicting schedules had made it challenging to find time for each other, but tonight we've managed to break free from our busy lives. The prospect of spending time with her this evening fills me with excitement and trepidation because we didn't exactly part on the best of terms. Returning to Houston after all these years was the last thing I ever thought I would do. This town held too many painful memories, too many reminders of the life I left behind. When I made the decision to leave all those years ago, I never imagined that fate would lead me back here voluntarily. Houston was once my home, a place where I had dreams and ambitions. It was also a place that took so much from me. The loss of my parents, shattered dreams, and the weight of responsibilities that grew too heavy to bear. Here I am back in the city that shaped me, both for better and for worse. Houston also holds the scars of my past, the mistakes I made, the paths I chose, and the consequences that followed. Leaving this city was an escape, a way to run from the pain and the memories that haunted me. But fate has its own way of pulling us back to the places we once tried to leave behind. And now, as I find myself back in town, I can't help but wonder what it all means. If I were to be honest, growing up in Houston never stirred any profound emotions within me. Despite the tragedies that had befallen me here, I had always known deep down that this town was not where I wanted to stay for long. My parents and I were like nomads, traveling from state to state, country to country, chasing the demands of their work. We never stayed in one place for too long, and I found solace in the constant change and the excitement of new places and cultures. So, when my parents decided to settle down in Houston, I couldn't help but feel a sense of bewilderment. Out of all the places we had explored, why choose this town as our home? I questioned their decision, wondering what made Houston so special. Their answer was simple, yet puzzling to me at the time. They said it was their hometown, a place that had shaped their lives and built their character. But as a child, I couldn't fully comprehend the significance of such sentiments. It took some time, perhaps a year or two, but eventually Houston started to grow on me. Despite my initial reservations, the town began to reveal its hidden charms, and I found myself slowly but surely warming up to its embrace. During this newfound acceptance, a chance encounter with Maya on the very first day of high school would forever change the course of my life. High school, a realm of uncertainties and transitions, greeted me with both excitement and trepidation. On that eventful day, as I navigated the hallways filled with unfamiliar faces, fate intervened in the form of a feisty girl who would alter the course of my high school journey forever. A group of bullies had singled me out, teasing and tormenting me with relentless taunts. Just when I thought there was no escape, Maya stepped in like a fearless guardian angel, her determination and courage leaving me in awe. With a few choice words and a fierce demeanor, she thwarted the bullies, whisking me away from their clutches. In that moment, a bond formed between us, an unspoken understanding that transcended the barriers of first-day jitters. Maya's tomboyish charm and magnetic personality drew me in, and from that day onwards we became an inseparable duo, a dynamic partnership that seemed to defy the odds. We tackled high school together, navigating its challenges with a shared sense of camaraderie. Maya's unyielding spirit and unwavering support became my anchor, providing solace and strength in times of uncertainty. Together we laughed, cried, and celebrated our triumphs and tribulations. As the years unfolded, we carved out a niche in this town that had once felt foreign to me. With Maya by my side, Houston became more than just a place, it transformed into a home of sorts with laughter and shared experiences. Right when I finally found my footing and became comfortable in Houston, the city started to unveil its darker, more sinister side. It was as if a hidden veil had been lifted, revealing a side of the town I had never encountered before. The once peaceful streets were now marred by the shadows of a group that had turned against the very community they were meant to protect. The Ravens, once a symbol of unity and protection for the neighborhood, had morphed into a nuisance, inflicting fear and chaos in their wake. The thought of crossing paths with them sent shivers down my spine, and I made a conscious effort to steer clear of anything that might entangle me with their treacherous dealings. The last thing I wanted was to be entwined with the murky world they had become. Little did I know that this very darkness would strike even closer to home, shattering my perceptions of the world around me. The revelation that left me stunned and disoriented was the unexpected discovery that Maya, my confidant, my closest and best friend, was one of them, one of the Ravens. It felt like a surreal twist of fate, the kind that made my head spin with disbelief. How could the person I trusted the most, the one who had saved me from bullies on that very first day of high school, be a part of the very group I feared? I was torn between confronting her and distancing myself to protect my own sanity. But I couldn't turn my back on Maya, not after all the memories we had shared, the laughter and tears that had forged our bond. So, with trepidation in my heart, I mustered the courage to confront her about her affiliation with the Ravens. As the truth about Maya's involvement with the Ravens settled heavily on my shoulders, I couldn't help but feel disbelief and disappointment. She didn't deny it when I confronted her, but her reasons for being a part of the group remained elusive, like shadows dancing just out of reach. The once open book that was our friendship now held hidden pages, and I longed to unravel the mystery that had woven itself into her life. I knew that I had to do everything in my power to protect her, to steer her away from the dangerous path she was treading. She was my best friend, my confidant, and the thought of her entangled in the murky world of crime was a nightmare I couldn't bear to face. I mustered all the courage I had within me and pleaded with her to reconsider, to abandon the Ravens and their treacherous ways. But she deflected my concerns, dismissing them with a nonchalant wave of her hand. She played off my best efforts as though my fears were mere paranoia. The frustration gnawed at me, as if I was grasping at smoke, unable to catch hold of the truth behind her choices. Why was she doing this? What had led her down this perilous path? The unanswered questions kept me awake at night, haunted by the fear that I was losing her to the darkness that had engulfed the Ravens. I tried to remind her of our shared dreams, the plans we had made for the future. But she seemed distant, her mind clouded by the allegiances she found herself entwined in. It was as if the Ravens had cast a spell over her, blinding her to the consequences of her actions. Every day, I battled to break through the barriers she had erected around her heart, to reach the girl I had once knew, the one who had saved me from bullies and had been my pillar of strength. I couldn't bear the thought of losing her to the shadows that now threatened to consume her, so I decided to be patient with her and be a crutch, a moral compass of sorts that made sure she didn't completely lose herself. The world shattered around me on the day my parents died. It was a day etched into my memory with the sharpest of blades, one that I could never forget no matter how hard I tried. The Ravens had unleashed chaos upon the city once more, this time robbing a bank and inviting the wrath of the police. But in their desperate attempt to escape, their recklessness took innocent lives like my parents'. That fateful day started like any other, the sun rising over the horizon with the promise of a new beginning. My parents and I set out on our routine drive, unaware that this mundane journey would become the catalyst for irrevocable tragedy. The sound of screeching tires and the blaring sirens of police cars filled the air, turning a peaceful morning into a scene of chaos and terror. The Ravens, fueled by their pursuit of fortune, led the police on a perilous chase, their escape route intertwining with ours. The world outside our vehicle became a blur of flashing lights and frantic movement. To avoid the oncoming collision, our vehicle swerved off the main road and down a treacherous hill. The sudden descent felt like a descent into madness, a surreal nightmare that I could not wake from. The impact with the tree was a thunderous crash, and the world around me seemed to stand still for a moment. When I came to, I was disoriented and dazed, my heart pounding like a frantic drum in my chest. A sharp pain radiated through my body, but I knew I was relatively unscathed compared to the horrors that lay before me. My parents, my pillars of strength, my anchors in this tumultuous world. They borne the brunt of the damage. Their lives extinguished in the blink of an eye, leaving behind a void that could never be filled. The weight of grief and loss settled upon me like an unyielding burden, a heavy shroud that draped over my soul. I was left to navigate the world without the guiding presence of my parents, without their unconditional love and unwavering support. In the aftermath of that tragic day, my world turned bleak and desolate. The ravens had taken more from me than they could ever realize, ripping away the foundation upon which my life was built. By the end of that week, a couple days after the accident that claimed my parents' lives, Houston no longer held any semblance of home for me. The city that had once been a place of laughter and friendship was now tainted with the shadows of tragedy and loss. The ravens had taken everything from me, the peace, the sense of belonging, and the dreams I had nurtured with my parents. The days that followed were a blur of grief and heartache, each moment a painful reminder of the void that now resided in my heart. As I walked the streets of Houston, every corner seemed to echo with memories of my parents, their laughter and love now distant echoes that I could no longer grasp. The faces of the ravens haunted me in every shadow, their menacing presence lurking around every corner. I couldn't escape the feeling that they were still watching, waiting for the next opportunity to strike. The pain of losing my parents was intensified by the knowledge that their lives had been taken by the very group that had plunged the city into darkness. In my grief-stricken state, I knew I couldn't bear to stay in a place that held such painful memories. I needed to escape, to find solace in a new horizon far from the clutches of the ravens and the ghosts of my past. Without a second thought, I made the decision to leave Houston behind. The city that had once been my childhood playground and my parents' home now felt like a prison of sorrow. I couldn't bear to be surrounded by the constant reminders of my loss, and I knew that staying would only keep me trapped in a cycle of pain and despair. Maya's involvement with the ravens was a murky cloud that hovered on the periphery of my thoughts, but at that moment, I couldn't find it in me to care. My focus was on escaping the suffocating grasp of the ravens and the city that had betrayed me. As I packed my belongings and prepared to leave, I felt a mixture of sadness and relief. Leaving behind the place I had once called home was bittersweet, but I knew that this was the only way to start anew, to find a path that wasn't overshadowed by grief and loss. With a heavy heart and tear-stained cheeks, I said my silent goodbyes to Houston, to the memories of my parents, and to my relationship with Maya. I wanted nothing more than to save her, but I understood that some things were far out of my reach and control. As soon as graduation was over, I finished the last of my packing and I took the bus away from town that night. Houston faded in the rearview mirror. A chapter of my life closing, and I desperately hoped it would never open again, and prior to a week ago it didn't. As I reached the restaurant where we agreed to meet, the sound of my car's engine fades into silence, leaving me enveloped in the calm of the Houston night. The air carries a hint of excitement, and my heart flutters with anticipation. Seeing Maya again after all this time feels like an adventure into the unknown, and I can't help but wonder how much we have both changed since we last met. I step out onto the sidewalk, greeted by the cool night breeze that caresses my skin. The promise of a memorable evening lies ahead, and my eagerness to reunite with Maya only grows stronger. We've both been through so much during our time apart, and I look forward to getting to know the new and, hopefully, improved version of her. Without wasting a moment, I leave my car and make my way towards the restaurant. Floodlights illuminate the path, guiding me towards the entrance, giving it a sense of elegance and grandeur. A long red carpet stretches from the door all the way to the curb, extending a warm invitation to its guests. The building exudes an air of opulence, making it clear that tonight's dinner will be nothing short of extraordinary. Anticipation swirls inside me as I walk along the carpet, each step bringing me closer to reuniting with Maya. The grand interior of the Frontier is adorned with soft golden chandeliers, casting a warm and inviting glow over the opulent steakhouse. As I step inside, the receptionist greets me with a courteous smile, her demeanor reflecting the establishment's high reputation. "Good evening, Mr. Cosgrove. Table for two?" she inquires, her voice polite and professional. "Yes, please," I reply confidently, feeling a tinge of excitement in my chest. I'm expecting Maya Greenwood to join me shortly. The receptionist nods, noting my reservation, and signals a waitress to lead me to a private VIP section reserved for esteemed guests like me. The plush seats cradle me in comfort as I settle down, taking in the elegant decor and the subdued chatter that fills the air. The waitress glides over gracefully, a true embodiment of the impeccable service at the Frontier. She pours a glass of champagne for me, its effervescence sparkling like stars in the crystal flute. "Thank you," I say with a nod, appreciating the thoughtful gesture. The champagne's crisp taste mirrors the flutter of anticipation in my heart as I await Maya's arrival. Despite the years that have passed and the events that has transpired between us, our friendship still holds a special place within me. As the waitress leaves, I take a moment to absorb the refined atmosphere around me. The Frontier exudes an air of sophistication, creating a soothing sanctuary amidst the bustling city. Memories of Maya intertwine with the present, flooding my mind with images of our shared past. I can't help but smile as I reminisce about our younger days filled with laughter and dreams. With each passing moment, my excitement grows, yet nervousness tugs at the corners of my mind. Seeing Maya again feels like reconnecting with a part of myself that I thought was lost. Our shared experiences have left their marks on both of us, and I wonder how time has shaped her and our connection. Savoring the champagne, I ponder the paths we've taken, how life has led us down separate roads only to bring us back together once more. The restaurant's ambiance provides a comforting space for reflection, allowing me to contemplate the twists and turns of fate. As time stretches on, I glance at my watch, my anticipation building with every passing second. Suddenly, I hear a soft rustle of fabric and the gentle sound of footsteps drawing my attention. I turn and there she stands, Maya, a vision of beauty that takes my breath away. "Maya," I say, my voice filled with wonder and delight. "It's been far too long." Her outfit exudes a touch of effortless chic, a style that suits her perfectly. She wears a crisp white crop top that accentuates her curves, paired with a sleek black leather jacket that adds a touch of edge to her look. Black jeans hug her legs and a pair of stylish boots complete the ensemble, adding a hint of confidence to her stride. Her hair is pulled back into a neat ponytail, revealing her radiant smile as she approaches. There's a natural glow to her skin, and she wears minimal makeup, allowing her natural beauty to shine through. A bold touch of dusty gold matte lipstick graces her lips, adding a touch of allure to her already captivating presence. As our eyes meet, I feel a rush of emotions, all the memories of our shared past mingling with the excitement of the present moment. "Eric, it's good to see you again," she says, her voice tinged with warmth and sincerity. I can't help but smile, feeling a wave of nostalgia and joy wash over me. "Likewise, Maya. It's truly been far too long," I reply. I rise from my seat, a gesture of courtesy as I pull out a chair for Maya to sit opposite me. A smile graces my lips as she takes the offered seat, thanking me with a touch of amusement in her voice. It feels like déjà vu, like the years have melted away and we're back to the days when we used to share meals together without a care in the world. The waiter approaches, and I signal him to take our orders. As he leaves, I turn my attention back to Maya, eager to catch up on the events that have shaped her life during our time apart. "So, how has your week been?" I ask, genuinely curious. Maya takes a moment to collect her thoughts before replying, "It's been mostly okay, but I almost ran into trouble with my parole officer." I'm taken aback by her mention of a parole officer, my mind trying to comprehend what she just said. "Parole officer?" I repeat, my voice tinged with surprise. Her gaze meets mine and she nods casually. "Yeah, I've been locked up for the last 2 years." She reveals matter-of-factly. My jaw nearly drops at her revelation, and I can't help but feel a mix of shock and concern. The thought of Maya being in prison for 2 years is something I never would have imagined, because despite being affiliated with the Ravens, she just seemed so untouchable. My mind races with questions, but I compose myself, realizing that it's not the time or place to pry. I had no idea. I say, my voice softening with empathy. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Maya offers a small smile, her eyes reflecting a hint of resilience. It was a tough time, and it opened my eyes to a lot of things. Her strength in the face of adversity strikes me, and I can't help but admire her determination. I lean back in my chair, trying to process this newfound knowledge about Maya, but also knowing that it doesn't change the essence of the person she is. I wondered what had happened to her all these years, but I didn't think for once that she would be in prison. I wanted to desperately ask what happened and if she would be returning to the Ravens, but these were insensitive questions that could set her off. I've seen her smack around a guys twice her size for way less. Well, I'm glad you're out of that crap shack and now on the path to a new beginning. I say sincerely. If there's anything I can do to support you, don't hesitate to ask. Maya smiles genuinely, the crook of her lips nearly meeting her eyes. Well, Mr. Big Shot, I just might take you up on that. Big Shot? Where did that come from? I ask nervously, clearing my throat. Oh please, Eric, your license plate literally says Cosgrove, plus you've been talking about owning an Aston Martin DB5 since we were kids. She chuckles lightly. My eyes light up defensively. Hey! The DB5 is a classic. Plus it's a Bond car. What self-respecting male wouldn't want to own a James Bond vehicle? Maya's chuckle degenerates into full-blown laughter. She pinched the bridge of her nose to get herself back under control. Okay, Mr. Self-Respecting, tell me how have you been since you made it out of here? Last I heard, you were jetting off to different countries for your parents' company. Well, I was already legally an adult by the time my parents passed, so I had to run around trying to balance their books and keep the business afloat, and even that didn't work out too well. At the end of the day, I got into the construction business in New York. Maya takes a sip from her glass, savoring the taste of the bubbly liquid as it exploded in her mouth. I lean back, reminiscing about the journey that led me to where I am today. It's been a long road. After my parents' business went under, I found myself drawn to the world of construction. I loved the idea of creating something tangible, something that would last beyond my own lifetime. Maya listens intently, her eyes locked on mine. I worked for a construction company in Colorado, learning the ropes and gaining experience. I always had this dream of starting my own business. So, when an opportunity arose in New York, I took a leap of faith and moved there. She nods, her curiosity piqued. Starting from scratch in a city like New York must have been challenging. It definitely was, I admitted. But I was determined to make it work. I started small, taking on smaller projects and building my reputation from there. Over the years, the business grew, and I found myself taking on bigger and more ambitious projects. Maya's eyes shine with admiration. You've come a long way, Eric. I'm really proud of you. Her words warm my heart, and I smile gratefully. Thank you, Maya. That means a lot coming from you. Our conversation continues, and we dive deeper into the events that have shaped our lives over the years. As the night goes on, I can't help but feel contentment and joy in reconnecting with my old friend. It's like nothing has changed despite the time and distance. I ultimately can't bring myself to ask the questions I really want to, because I understand it's a sensitive time for her, and the word flying around was that her brother was killed while on an assignment for the Ravens. I don't want to dredge up such memories for her, but not tonight, when we're both focusing on reconnecting.